What's going on, guys? SpikeZillion here, and today I have a Banlist prediction video. This was not planned. The only reason that this ended up happening was actually because I have another video planned in the future where I want to make a really crazy, pretty BS list, pretty much of harpies and stuff, and I wanted to make an interesting deck list, but I was like, I better wait till the ban list comes out, because maybe I won't be able to make it legal or anything. We'll have to see. Because who knows what they're hitting? Who knows? It's really just a complete shit show at the moment, what they're going to actually hit. So today, we're going to do some banlist prediction stuff. I have a list on me. I'm actually going to be looking at it as we talk here. And I think I'm going to piss a lot of people off with this. I'm not going to lie. So let me get these things out of the way. First of all, this is my opinion. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. This is what I think they should do on the ban list. This is not really telling of what Konami will likely do, although I will have some thought process on it based on what I've seen. I also should note that I've only been playing the game since February of 2022, so while I do have knowledge of the game, I can very clearly have some issues of my own regarding, you know, what is good to ban and what is bad to ban, what Konami likes to ban. You know, those are all different things in my opinion. And so, you know, I had to get a grasp of it in about a year, but I think I have a pretty good grasp on it to be able to justifiably make this list. So, you know, if you don't agree with some of the things, you can let me know in the comments below. I know for a fact that there's going to be at least one card on here that's going to piss a lot of people off. In fact, I can think of 2 or 3 cards I can see on this list that is going to piss a lot of people off. But I think these are the correct things to hit. We'll see how this goes. Again, I think there's only a few cards on this list I feel like Konami would specifically do, and we'll go over them as we get to them. But, yeah, this is what I would love to see on the list. Now, I kind of spoiled it based on what's in the preview here, but this is going to be the only ban I'm going to have. No joke, this is the only card I am putting on the forbidden list, and that is Kashtira Birth. There's a few reasons why I have chosen Birth over some of the other cards. The big thing is that Birth basically starts the whole combo, right? If I go ahead, even if I special Fenrir here and I have Birth in hand, which is very likely to happen because we're at 3 right now, Fenrir effect to search, you ash anyway. Okay, I just activate Birth. If I have another Kashtira in my hand, I just normal summon that. Most likely I have Unicorn, so I go Unicorn effect, and now that didn't get ashed. So now I get Theosis. Now Theosis goes crazy. So either way, you're getting 3 monsters. It really didn't make a difference, right? But even then, even if we went limited on Birth, we go Unicorn effect at some point, right? We could go Fenrir effect. We could have Theo at 3. I'm not saying Theo at 3 is a good idea, but we can do that because the deck doesn't really give a shit, right? So we go Fenrir effect. You go Ash or Imperm or whatever. I go Theo targeting Fenrir, right? We special Unicorn. Now Unicorn effect goes off. We get Birth. Now we have Birth anyway, so now we're getting a 3rd monster from our hand, or we're going to special from Grave or Banish, which is much more broken. Like, there's multiple ways to get to Birth, and Birth is the whole combo. If you don't have Birth, you basically have to sit there and suck your thumb. There's just, like, not a realistically good hand you can have if Birth is gone. There's, like, a few different combinations of cards that you could do. For instance, if you had Theosis and Fenrir in hand, you can theoretically make 2 rank 7 monsters that require 2 monsters. Because of the... or you could go Shangri-ira and a Riseheart, you know what I mean? Without Birth. So, for instance, I could go Fenrir, special summon it, don't use effect yet, go Theosis, target Fenrir, see if they ash that, or you could just, you know, go Fenrir effect if you really want to get hit by the ash there, and then banish a card that your opponent controls or whatever if you're going second. But, like, let's say they have no interruptions. You go Fenrir searches Riseheart, then you go Theosis, target Fenrir, you can special whatever the fuck you want, I guess Unicorn, right? Then Unicorn can search another Theosis if you want, or whatever you want to do, I guess. Yeah, another Theosis would probably be the best thing. I don't know what this even does. I guess we'll get there in a couple formats. Anyway, yeah, so that'll be there. And then Riseheart effect, you go ahead and do your thing. And then, yeah, if you have... Actually, wait, that only makes 3 monsters, so we're still stuck. So yeah, you kind of have to have Scareclaw cash in hand as well if you want to get 4 monsters. So yeah, it's kind of messy. I guess the other way you could do it is you could go, like, Diablosis first, and then detach, and then Unicorn will be special summon through birth or whatever, if it was the mat that you detached. You know, there's a whole bunch of things you can do. But killing birth will kill the combo, and that's why I have not banned Diablosis. A lot of people are probably going to be really mad I'm not picking Diablosis for the ban. I think Diablosis is not the problem, and the reason why I feel that way is because the only deck that has been able to abuse this card in any way, in the way that it does, is Kashtira. And the only reason they're able to do it to such a disgusting length is because of birth. If you think about it, the problem with Diablosis is that you get Diablosis plus Shangri-ira, right? So we get 4 monsters. Now, in order for me to get 4 monsters, like I just said, we would have to have a pretty, like, meaty monster hand, right? And that's still quite a lot of things I would need to have. I would need to have Scareclaw Cash in hand, plus Fenrir, plus Theosis, at least, to have 4 monsters. That, as far as I know. Or at least you'd have to have another, a normal summonable level 7, right? Actually, wait, no, because if Birth is banned, yeah, you can't even normal summon level 7. So yeah, you have to have Scareclaw Cash, plus another Kashtira or Scareclaw card in your hand, most likely, in this situation. Because you won't really have one engraved. I guess you could banish your Theosis engraved, but it would be completely worthless. So, like, realistically, you would want to have another Kashtira card in your hand. So again, like, it's just such a mess. It'd be way harder to make Diablosis plus Shangri-ira. Most people would probably not get to that point. Unless the combo was that they decided to start playing Big Bang. And in that case, yes, you could go Shangri-ira plus Diablosis, but then you are banishing Big Bang for cost from the effect of Riseheart, right? And that kind of becomes troublesome because you won't be able to go Diablosis plus Shangri-ira plus a Kashtira monster because you'll only be able to make 2 rank 7s, and that's it. Whereas Birth, you could have 2 rank 7s, plus Big Bang if you played it. Most people don't right now, as far as I know. I've heard a lot of people have been playing it now, but at the start, when I was asking people around, a lot of people were saying, no, don't bother playing it. I don't know what, but I guess because I'm not playing Pure, so in my case, it's kind of different. But I think for Pure, you're playing Big Bang. So, like, 1 Big Bang, yeah, you get the Big Bang, plus you have the Birth special summon from Grave or Banished. So you would have so many other monsters on field that you'd be able to use Diablosis on your opponent's turn while you've already used it on your turn, right? And they mill like crazy, you know what I mean? But with Birth dead, Diablosis can only really mill on my turn. Once I pass, I have Shangri-ira to special, right? So I can get a Fenrir. Now it becomes a problem, right? But again, this is one of those things where if you have, like, a good board breaker, typically it's not a problem. Like, you could even, at this point, you could just play Droplet, you can play Ash, there's, like, 100 different negates you can play, you can do in draw phase, you can do Eclipse, like, you can do so many different things. Obviously, it's a draw the out situation at that point, and that is very frustrating, but at the very least, it's more comforting knowing that Birth is not, like, completely destroying the field and just shitting on the field with a bunch of different Kashtira monsters, and instead you would have your opponent hope that they draw decently good. It makes it a lot more balanced because that's going to become their best board. Their best board is now going to be Diablosis plus Shangri-ira. And, you know, most people will not approve of that. They would probably rather just go a Riseheart pass at that point, which is probably a better monster overall. So I think Birth is the right thing to hit. I know that people are going to be angry with me not hitting Diablosis, but I hope what I said makes some sense, right? Like, I hope you understand where I'm coming from with that one, and that's why I took a really long time to explain it. Because I feel a lot of things about this card. I feel very strongly about this card being banned. I think this is the only one that I think is a reasonable thing to hit. But yeah, so now we're gonna start doing token stuff here, I think. Oh, that's the default. Okay, yeah, whatever. I don't have a way to put a bunch of cards here, so yeah, we're just gonna move on. So the next card on my list, we're gonna go to the limited list now. This is this one I think is the actual first one that's gonna piss a lot of people off. This is gonna be the one that makes it's gonna make a lot of people angry. I swear to God, this card needs to get hit. It just needs to. I can't take it anymore. I'm gonna stop playing the game. And that's Branded Fusion. This card needs to be limited, man. This card is absolutely broken. I don't know what to tell people at this point. Like, in the OCG, it's limited right now, which is completely fair, because the card is nuts. The card literally says, just fuse from the deck. Why not? Fuck it. And the part that makes it so open-ended is not the card itself, but the follow-up after. There's so much to it that it's absolutely broken. It has been broken since it came out. It has been absolutely busted, but people aren't really realizing it until now, because now they have Cartesia, and people have been realizing, oh, I can play Dark Dragoon now, so they're starting to do Dark Dragoon instead of doing fucking Mirror Jade. Took people months to figure that out, because people that play this deck, I'm sorry, but it's single brain cell, I swear to God. It's so frustrating. Hate this deck. I'm talking from a very personal standpoint at this point, and I apologize, but my God, I hate this card. This card does so much crap, and it's so ridiculous. And everyone loves the deck. Everyone's like, oh man, it's like the most goated deck. It's so based. Bro, it's not based at all. This shit's so fucking brain dead. Like, yeah, we draw the out, right? We draw the 1 Ash, right? The 3 of in our 40 card deck. We're just gonna draw that Ash every time, for sure. By the way, I play Ash. I don't think I've seen it a single fucking time whenever I see Branded Fusion, bro. And I've been fighting this deck for like 8 months, 9 months, whatever amount of time it's been. It's been absolutely ridiculous amount of time, and I still hardly ever draw Ash against this thing. I think I maybe have drawn Ash like 5 times against this fucking card. Card's absolutely ridiculous. I would have an easier time just imperming the monster afterwards, which is completely fair. I can do that, but now they have a 3k beater on the field, which is super cool, because they literally made a 3k beater before Blue Eyes could make a 3k beater. They used 1 card to make a 3k beater, whereas Blue Eyes needs like 3 cards to do that shit, and they need to do it in the end phase. So, fuck Branded. This shit's so stupid. I haven't even talked about the fact that this thing can make Dark Dragoon for no reason. I think I briefly mentioned it, but yeah, it's just so stupid. You just send the substitute card with Fallen of Albaz, and you just make Lubellion. Lubellion shuffles everything back, and you just make Dark Dragoon. What the fuck? Like, it's actually ridiculous. It's so stupid. And it's not even scratching the surface. We could talk about so much other shit. It obviously makes Mirror Jade, which Mirror Jade has its own bullshit rulings. It has, like, the fact that when it leaves the field, it activates the effect that during the end phase it resolves and it pops all cards, which means it gets through monsters that are unaffected by activated effects, which is super bullshit. Because if I make a Psychic End Punisher, it should be able to stay on the fucking field. It shouldn't have to leave the field and get popped. Because, oh, the effect didn't activate now. It resolves now. It didn't activate until it happened earlier. And it's like, if I was on the field already, like, it was already fucking there. If I have Skill Drain up and I'm fighting Trap Tricks, Skill Drain negates them. Like, what do you fucking mean? It's so stupid. Like, if my monster's already there before you activated the effect, it shouldn't pop a monster. But because Mirror Jade is a special snowflake, it just does that. This is fucking bullshit. Like, the whole deck is so ridiculous. And that is enabled through Branded Fusion. Whereas Branded Fusion, you know, if it's at 1, you know, you might make a Mirror Jade once, and then if I can get through the 1 Mirror Jade, we're good. We're good, it's fine. But you know, it's still balanced, because they still have Branded in red, we still have Branded in white, right? We still have the stupid-ass Ad Libitum or whatever to special summon whatever the fuck we want, including the Mirror Jade I already removed off the fucking field. We still have the theater. There's so many fusion cards. It's ridiculous. And they want to cry. Wah! I can't fucking play Brandon White because it's too slow. Wah! I can't play the theater because now I don't have enough room because I have 60,000 other cards in this stupid-ass deck that keeps getting so much support for no reason. There's no reason to support this deck anymore. Stop supporting it, Konami. Jesus Christ. This deck is fucking ridiculous. If it gets any further, it's gonna be the best deck easily. We haven't touched shit yet. We still haven't touched anything in this deck. I feel like we have just kept treading the same shit water. The shit's creek without a paddle. Just limit the card, for God's sakes. Please, for the love of God. I don't care if it's coming out no TS22 or whatever. I don't give a fuck. They fucking limited all the tier cards after they showed off that Rhinoheart was one of the OTS 21 cards. I don't care if Rhinoheart is the one that they didn't limit. They limited tier, and no one's playing Rhinoheart. Let's be real. Ask around. Who the fuck is playing Rhinoheart anymore? You're playing tier Copium if you're playing tier. Let's be real. There are some tier decks that exist. I get it. But, like, oh my god. It's not like because Brand of Fusion is coming as an ulti in 22, it doesn't mean that it can't be limited. It's not like it's being banned. It's being limited. So, just let it happen. For the love of God. Rant over. Jesus, I hate this card. Anyway, let's move on to the next card. This is one that I think a lot of people will agree with, but I think a lot of people might disagree with, because I think a lot of people will say Unicorn. But I think Fenrir is actually the card to hit. There's a couple reasons why I feel this way. The thing about Fenrir is that it's a monster search, which would, once again, is a really good enabler to making that 4-monster combo, right, that I was talking about earlier with Theosis. The thing is that if you have one Fenrir and your opponent has a way to negate that Fenrir, it's going to be really difficult to remove it and then bring it back in order to be able to, you know, banish a monster on your opponent's turn type of thing. So going second, Kashtira is going to be very, very, very limited because of Fenrir being limited and Birth being banned. So this will hurt Kashtira by quite a bit going second. Going first, it's going to be a little bit tougher for the opponent most of the time. But again, we can still neg Fenrir, and we could do something like Imperm to neg, so that he can't really, like, you know, banish anything face down. But like, I guess at that point you would rather just Imperm the Unicorn, because then Unicorn can't banish face down an extra deck card. So, I don't know. I don't think Unicorn is the issue necessarily, although Unicorn's effect is way more powerful, probably, right? Because of Diablosis being there, so you can banish 2 from extra deck, which is pretty broken. I think Fenrir is a bigger problem, because everyone and their mom is splashing Fenrir into their decks, and not Unicorn. Unicorn is a great card, but I think Fenrir is the one that people are splashing in, because they Fenrir search another Fenrir, and then it's just an extra body for free. It's literally Pancratops 2, Electric Boogaloo at that point, and a lot of people are just playing it just to have that free banish, just to have the search effect of another monster that's 2400 if your board gets wiped. It's just a really powerful crackback card as well. But obviously I've already mentioned that this is a really good card. Going first or second, it doesn't really matter, because if you control no monsters, it doesn't need to be side or your opponent controls a monster. It just doesn't matter. It's if you control no monsters. So this card's really good either first or second. Whereas I think Unicorn is better going first for the most part. Going second, it's kind of a mixed bag. It kind of depends on what your opponent has. So yeah, I would say overall I think Fenrir is the better hit, just so that people will have a lot more difficulty splashing Kashtira into their decks. They would have to play Unicorn, and that's kind of a tough thing, because Unicorn is very powerful, but it's not super easy to splash into decks, at least from what I can see. I think Fenrir is the more popular splashable card, so I think it's more fair to hit him rather than Unicorn. Although, again, I will make it clear, I think Unicorn's effect is fucking crazy, like the banish from extra deck, but I think that for the combo sake, it's the worst card to hit of the two, because it generates basically Theosis, which is a hard once if Birth is banned. So it's really not a crazy big deal. And again, if Fenrir's at 1, it's easy to negate Fenrir and not allow them to make 3 level 7s on their turn, unless they already have the cards in their hand. So you're basically saying the you better have it game. I think it's a better hit. But we'll see if that plans out. I don't know if Konami will hit this or Unicorn. A lot of people are saying Unicorn, but I don't think they will. We'll see. Here's another one that I think a lot of people are going to be mad about. So this is the second one I think people will be mad about. And this is Sprite Blue. Now, there's a reason why I think that this is going to go to 1 rather than starter. First of all, Konami's just fucking stupid. They already know that people have gotten their OTS 21s, and they've gotten their ulti Sprite Blues and their ulti Fenrirs. I think they're just going to hit them at 1 anyway. It's hard to say whether or not that will be the case, because obviously, like, they don't really make money, as far as I know, off the OTS packs. I could be wrong, but, you know, I don't think they actually give a shit about the OTS packs. They might care about the secondary market, but I don't know how much they actually care about it. I don't think they care about it at all. So, realistically, I don't think it's like a big deal to talk about the fact that these were both ultis in the previous OTS, and you know, they're gonna get hit now. You know what I mean? The other thing is I feel like they might follow the OCG's path in hitting blue, in the sense that blue is like a searcher of all the monsters, and the monsters just special from the hand, whereas starter, I feel like they want that card in the game still. Part of why I think that is because you lose life points equal to its original attack, so they probably will see that because Konami's stupid, and they'll think, oh, it's balanced because of the life point loss. But it really doesn't matter. The opponent doesn't give a shit. Plus it also locks you into the level rank in Link 2s. Not that I think that Konami cares about that as much, but they might. So I think blue is actually what they're going to end up hitting. So then that way people are kind of forced into drawing Jet or specialing Jet off of starter, and then using Jet effect to get Smashers or Gamma Burst. Or ultimately what Konami will do is they'll try to make people go starter to go red or carrot instead of going blue, right? And then blue will, obviously, being at 1, you might still go Sprite blue, right? And because if you're going first and you don't have blue in hand, you just go Sprite starter, you activate blue anyway, right? So either way, you're still getting blue. It's still at 1. It's okay. It's just that I think that blue is the... For one, I think it's a bigger issue in the deck. But 2, I also think that they would hit this before they would hit starter, just in general. Because I think Konami is too dumb to hit starter. I think that starter is the better thing to hit. I think starter is the better thing to put at 1. But I feel like Konami is not likely to hit starter at 1. Also, if we're being honest, between you and me, the card I really don't like from the deck at the current moment is honestly just Smashers. I think Smashers are just really annoying. The Sprite negates are, like, annoying enough, but at least they have to tribute a monster on their end to, like, make it work. Whereas I feel like Sprite Smashers is just so dumb. I also do feel for them because they did get hit on Elf, and that was kind of, damn, like, we got cucked because, you know, Elf is, like, really powerful type of thing, right? But I think what Konami would be smart to do is to possibly just errata Sprite Elf, so that it's in archetype only for all the effects, and then I think it's possible that Elf could come back. It's still an incredibly powerful card and incredibly good, but I think that it would allow Konami to feel better about putting it back on at least limited. I don't think they're going to put it anything further than limited, even if they errata it to like, keep it in engine. But I think it would be smart for Konami to do that, because I do think that Sprite gets cooked pretty hard, and I do feel for them. I think this deck is pretty neat. Although it's very, very, very good, though, I will say, to a point where it gets kind of frustrating to deal with. I think Sprite Blue would be a good hit as well. I think either this or starter is the proper things to hit in this situation. I've chosen blue because I think Konami will hit that more so, because they're dumb. I'm gonna be honest, I think starter's the better hit, but yeah. So let's talk about Bestials. There's 2 that I thought about, and it was Saronir and Lubellion. And now, here's the thing. Lubellion is played at 1 in a ton of decks. I think that's including branded, right? But people are willing to play it at 3 in certain decks. I've met a few players that are on, like, the Dragon Link Copium that are playing this at 3, and I think that's kind of interesting, because 1, this card's ridiculously expensive, and 2, it doesn't seem like on the outset it's really worth doing that. But when you think about it, if you're playing it in Dragon Link, I mean, there's gonna be, like, high-level dragon monsters all over the place, in addition to your Bestials just in general, right? Because you're gonna play Magnemite, you'll probably play Juris Worm, right? There's a handful of cards you could play, right, that will get Bestial Rebellion on the field. So it's not impossible to say that it'll be a 3, so I think this is actually not a terrible card to put at 1. And that is why I've chosen Bestial Rebellion over the Saronir. Now, I think Saronir, putting it to 1, I feel like does not actually do anything. And so, therefore, I think it's a worse hit in general. I think most people will just want it once anyway, just to be able to send a branded spell or trap, which most likely, usually they send, I think, Retribution? I can't remember which one it is. I think it's Retribution. Is the one that most people send. You can also send Branded Beast, I think, and then I think one of the other cards can set it, one of the other cards in the branded archetype, I think, can set it. So there's a couple different things you can choose from there. There's a whole bunch of like mix-ups there, but I think at 1 that most people are gonna be fine with playing this at 1. I don't think this is actually gonna make a difference. Whereas Bestial Rebellion might make a small difference. I don't think it's gonna be a major difference. Like branded, I'm pretty sure still plays this at 1 for the most part. But I think with Dragon Link trying to bring it back to 3, I think that this is the right thing to hit, because I think this card is quite powerful, and it is something to just put on the watch list in general, because I do think this card is quite dangerous, especially with the second effect, where it places a branded continuous spell or trap from your deck face up on your field, which usually ends up being branded regained. It's just an incredibly powerful card, and I don't think they're going to hit regain, to be honest. I think they would just rather hit this, because this is just like part of a crazy engine. It's just a really powerful engine. The OCG kind of went interesting with it. I think they hit Baldrake and Druis Worm on their list, if I'm not mistaken, and to that I feel very confused. I feel like Druis Worm is an okay hit. Like, it's a second effect is kind of annoying, but it's not pissing me off. Like, I'm not gonna like throw the table for that. It's I don't know. It's kind of whatever. Magnemite, I feel like, is actually a pretty reasonable hit here, but the only thing about Magnemite is that the fact that the search is in the end phase, I feel like makes this card perfectly balanced. It's perfectly fine, despite the fact that it's fucking massive. It's 2,500 with 2,000 defense, so it's got a smaller booty than, like, you know, Bestial Rebellion, which is fat as fuck. But I think this card's a lot more balanced than Bestial Rebellion, at least in my opinion. You might be able to disagree with that, but I think Bestial Rebellion is a perfectly fine hit here. Yeah, so let's move on. Sorry, this video is gonna be really fucking long. I should warn you now if you haven't looked at the timeline yet. Alright. It's time to hit Runic. It's time to kill them. It's time to get rid of all their shit. We're gonna start with Fountain here. I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with me on this one, guys. Right? Come on. Runic Fountain needs to fucking be gone. Just needs to die. And I think this is enough to kill them, but in case they didn't kill them fast enough, we're gonna make Hugin go to 1 as well. So this is our first extra deck hit of the day. Yeah, Hugin is some bullshit. Huggies is so dumb. The fact that it just protects the field spell for no reason is super dumb, because it's on resolution, right? So that's super, super toxic. And for that reason, I really don't like Hugin or Huggies. I'm just going to keep calling it Huggies. It's so dumb. And it also searches Runic Fountain, which is super cringe. So if they was at 1, they can only do one or the other, so get fucked, Runic. Pretty much they're just going to search with this thing, and then that's it. That's the end of their plays. Unless they keep this thing on field, which they should. It's dumb that they use this thing for other plays, like linking off and stuff. So I want them to feel like they're in a corner and never want to play Runic again, and that's exactly how I feel about fighting Runic, and I want Runic players to feel what I feel. So, fuck you, Runic. It's just being straight up, get this shit out of here. So yeah, that is my hits for Runic. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, moving on to controversial takes, because that was a cold as fuck take. It wouldn't be a Spikezillion video without some hot takes. So let's get into some hot takes. This is what I think Konami's gonna hit. These are 2 things I think Konami might actually hit, and one of them I think is not an unreasonable thing to claim, and the other one I think is, like, people are gonna be pissed at me for this one, but I think it's gonna be around that time. If you look at your watch, if you look at that calendar, it looks like it might be time to hit Pot of Prosperity. I'm not saying that I want this to be hit. I'm saying that Konami probably hits this. The thing is that I think a lot of people would be pissed about this because of the current market for Pot of Prosperity, but I think what's going to be a big deal about that is that Konami feels like they just refuse to print this card. They just have made so many advances to where they're like, nah, you know what? You can only have this card in Secret Rare. Fuck you. Unless you buy this big-ass pot collection that's, like, completely unrelated to the card, pretty much. Because we want you to have all the pots, and we want you to pay $200 just to have an ultra-rare version of this stupid-ass card. So, basically, Konami is like, oh yeah, we already sold out of the pot collection. You already bought all of our tins. Yeah, we're good. We're ready to limit this card and, you know, make you waste your money. So, yeah, I think Prosperity's gonna go to 1. Konami's, you know, had enough money at this point. Not that they've had enough money, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I think the tin has been out for, what, 7 months already? Or 6 months? It's been a long time. So I think at this point they are ready to, you know, stop with the Pot of Prosperity shenanigans, the Copium that people are having with still opening up the tins for some reason. And so Prosperity's probably going to end up going to 1 because of consistency reasons. It has been done in Master Duel, and I think it might have been done in the OCG as well. And I don't think it's necessarily unreasonable, but I do think it's pretty frustrating because it hurts a lot of decks' consistency, which actually includes Kashtira, ironically enough, because Kashtira loves Prosperity, in my opinion. And also, Purely will also quite enjoy Prosperity. So having it at 1 might actually cause a lot of decks to have a little bit of difficulty with their consistency and their ability to make larger boards. So, yeah, Prosperity is the choice here for one of the 2 cards I think Konami will hit. The other one I think Konami will hit, but this one is a wild card because it is being reprinted in a couple months. So it's possible that I'm completely wrong on this one and I'm just whiffing this super bad, but it won't necessarily cause a lot of issues for a lot of people, and people will still buy the card, and that's Zeus. The thing about Zeus is that at 2, it's really strong, because if you don't get Diablosis or Unicorn or anything else that would basically suck and cuck your extra deck, Zeus at 2 cards is incredibly powerful in the sense that you could, with Purely, make Zeus with one of your dogs, and then the other dog is Noir, for example. And then if your opponent gets through that, but does not have enough to kill you, on the crackback, you can make yet another Zeus, right? So you can keep making Zeuses all you want. It's not like, you know, it's not like he's limited right now in the TCG. And a lot of people might even be surprised about that, because most people end up playing Zeus at 1 just because. But Kashtira, ironically enough, does actually play 2 Zeuses oftentimes, because in the Ditto, they get one of them robbed from them. So having a second Zeus is a nice little catch, so that you can still possibly make Zeus if you really need him and you're backed into a corner going second. So I think putting Zeus at 1 is an interesting play, because it does somewhat hurt going second decks, but in addition to that, it also just makes it so that, you know, smaller decks that feel like they have like this invincible card and they don't really need like too much extra deck space, and like they usually have Zeus at 2, they are forced to put it at 1. So it is making rogue decks worse, but it's also making like top tier decks slightly worse as well, because a lot of the top tier decks don't need a ton of extra deck room anyway to begin with. So I think that this is an interesting hit. I think this is one that I don't think a lot of people would like be mad about by any means, but I think some people might be a little bit irked about it because of Diablosis and because of Unicorn. So it's kind of an interesting situation. I think the alternative is, if they do hit Zeus, they will likely ban Diablosis. That is probably what's going to happen. But I feel like Konami's not going to do one or the other. If they do, though, I feel like the one out of the 2 they would do is actually just Zeus. So, yeah, we'll see. Zeus at 1 is sort of an interesting situation, but that is one that I thought Konami might be interested in trying to hit. Okay, we have made it to the Forbidden to Limited, right? So now we're talking about cards that are getting off the ban list. So let's see. What do we got here? I got a card that I think Konami wants to get rid of on the ban list, and that's Glow Up Bulb. I don't think Glow Up Bulb is necessarily bad in the format. I don't think that this will cause a ton of issues. I could be wrong, because it is a level 1 tuner that's incredibly powerful, but once per duel is a toughie, right? I don't know. It's possible they might retrain this again, or if anything, they might like errata this card, but I feel like they wouldn't at this point. If they made a retrain, they don't have the need to errata the card. But I think that with Hulk gone, I think that Glow Up Bulb is completely reasonable to put at 1. But I guess we'll see. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I think a lot of people are going to have PTSD about this card, and they'll be like, no, I don't want the shit back. But I'm open to the idea of it being back. I want to see what it can do and what'll happen if it's limited rather than banned. The next one is Blaster, and I think Blaster is probably fine to come back. I don't think the other two Dragon Rulers are okay to come back yet. I still think Tidal's insane, and Redox is even more crazy in this current format. But Blaster is not bad. There's nothing really crazy bad going on right now in the OCG or the TCG that would allow Blaster to be a problem, especially with the Fire Structure deck coming out, or sorry, the deck building deck, or the deck building box. It looks pretty neat, and I think people will be wanting to get Blaster in on the fun. So I think this will be a neat card to bring back. We'll see if that is a mistake or not. Next is my boy, or my girl, excuse me, Electrumite. Is it boy, girl? Who knows? Who cares? It's Electrumite. That's all I care. And Electrumite is the GOAT. We need this shit back. Please, I'm begging you. This time, it's definitely biased. I'm super fucking biased on this one. Please, dear God, give me it back. I just want to play Pendulum so fucking bad, and I want to play a very nice card. It's not broken. It's definitely balanced. Please, 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 please just do it for me. I would do anything for this card back. Please, please, please. Because Pendulum is bad. So please keep helping me get carried. So yeah, thank you, Konami, for listening to my TED Talk. Yeah, that's Electrumite. Now this is one I'm very not for, but I'm gonna put it in because of the people. It's for the people, okay? This one's for the people. I did say this was my list, but I'm doing it for the people, okay? Harp Horror, I think, could come back. I don't want it back. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I really don't think it should come back. But I propose a trade, okay? You can have 3 Harp Horror. 3, not just 1. You can have 3 Harp Horror. But we ban Babel. Does that sound fair? Sounds fair to me. I would like Babel gone, please. Can we get rid of that? That'd be nice. So ban Babel. Anyway, put this at 1 and we'll see where the deck goes. But I think Babel's the broken card in the deck. I don't think Harp Horror is the issue. Babel's the problem, really. So anyway, that's that. Yeah, that's limited list. So let's talk about semi-limits now. Normally I don't feel this way, but for a card that should go to 2, I do have 1 card that I'm interested in hitting just a tiny bit, and that's Big Welcome Labyrinth. This might be a hot take as well. I don't think that Labyrinth needed Big Welcome. They already had Welcome. And I think Welcome is already really good. Big Welcome is like kind of pushing it. You're really trying to make this deck work. I think some people might rather hit one of the monsters, like maybe Lady Labyrinth, possibly, because she's the toxic card. Or is it Lovely? I think it's Lovely. Lovely is the one that hand rips. Yeah, Lovely's the one that hand rips. I think people would likely hit this card rather than Big Welcome. But I think Big Welcome going to 2 would be completely fine, because you still have Welcome at 3, and then you have Big Welcome at 2. Like, I don't know how much more you could possibly want. You already get enough out of this deck to begin with, especially with Trap Trick being in your deck. You just banish 1 Big Welcome to get another Big Welcome, and yeah, I get it. You only have 1 Big Welcome now, but you know what? That's on you for playing Trap Trick. Fuck you. So, I don't know. I think Big Welcome being to 2 is perfectly fine, and Welcome being to 3 is also fine. I don't know. I could be wrong about this one, but I think this is the card I would hit in Labyrinth. I think something should be semi-limited. I don't think anything should be limited necessarily. I don't think the deck goes that crazy, but we'll see. I think another one, I just thought of this now, I totally realized I never hit Mathmech, and the thing is that Mathmech, I don't think it's inherently that broken. Like, the only thing that I think is, like, truly broken is, I think, Diameter, right? Diameter is the one that... Or is it Circular? I can't remember. Which one released last? It was Circular. Yeah, this is the card that... Yeah. This is the broken card. Circular's fucked. I think Circular could go to 1, probably, right? I think that's fair, right? Circular going to 1 would be fair. So, like, you know what? I'm gonna put him right here. I'm right there. I think Circular going to 1 would be fair. But honestly, if you want my opinion, I think this should be banned. This should be banned. This card's bullshit, but I also feel that way about Revolt as well. I would gladly ban Revolt if they ever did like a huge ban list like Nuke and just nuked a whole bunch of decks. I would be so down for both Super Factorial and Tri-Brigade Revolt being gone. But I think that Konami would be more likely to hit Circular. Because it's been a long time and, you know, it is what it is. Anyway. Sorry for going on the tangent. Let's go back to the list. Yeah, so that's the only semi-limit is Big Welcome Labyrinth. That's the only semi-limit right now. Now let's talk about unlimits. Let's talk about cards that should go to 3. I never really understood why Power Desires went to 2. So I think we should have this back at 3, right? I don't think it's that unfair. Also, if we keep Diablosis in the format, we can keep cucking people that play this card anyway. So, you know, I didn't suggest anything, you know, no big deal. But anyway, Desires, you know, it's a good card. Next is Ancient Fairy Dragon. The card is not very good anymore. Surprise, surprise. It's hard once per turn. I mean, it's a good card. I shouldn't say that it's, like, not good. I just think, like, this could be taken off the list, right? Like, come on. It's not doing anything wrong now. People aren't going to play it at 3 anyway, right? Most people are just going to hit it at 1 anyway. And it's a perfectly fine card. It's not bad. It's just like, a decent secondary backup option for a ton of decks. If they really want to get a field spell, for example. And there's a lot of good field spells this format, so yeah. Ancient Fairy Dragon. I think it should go to 3, right? That's fair. Another one I think that could go to 3 is Astrograph. Now, if we take Electrumite off the list, I don't think we're gonna see her plus Astrograph be taken down on the list. I think that we would see one or the other. But for the sake of the conversation, I think that if we don't get Electrumite brought back, we should have Astrograph at 3. It's not really doing anything in this format. I don't see a reason why not to have Astrograph at 3. I don't think people would even play it at 3. So I think it's fair to put it at 3, right? That's completely fair. The next is this one is more biased for me for sure, but come on guys, let's get a move on. This card's not doing shit in the TCG. I would like to see it in the TCG and the OCG. There's people playing it, but like not to a high extent. A lot of people talk shit about OCG players, saying they suck, they can't deck build, blah blah blah. But I mean, they just have the better ban list. I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna be real. I love their ban list for the most part. There's some problems with it, especially with the latest list. But the last few lists, other than the last list, have been bangers after bangers. And Divine Wind and Mist Valley just needs to go to 3. They did it over there. Let's do it over here. And while we're at it, let's bring back Genex Ally Birdman. Why not, right? Let's just get 3 of him going, and then I can play Harpies with Mist Valley and feel like the best player in the world and get carried and all that good shit. So yeah, definitely not biased on those last 2, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This is my wish list prediction. This is quite a lot of cards, so I can't imagine that all these would get hit, but this is my personal wish list that I would love to see. In addition to some thought about Konami and how they would personally hit certain decks and stuff. I don't think Traptrix is getting hit. I think Traptrix has got the right amount of power at the moment. Like, it's very good. It's a very good deck, but I don't know if it's, you know, topping all the time. So, yeah. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it. Make sure to subscribe and all that good shit. Comment down below what other cards you'd like to see on the ban list, and if you agree or disagree with any of my picks or any of my explanations or reasonings why I think some of these cards are some crazy bullshit. Like Brain Infusion, fuck this card, fuck this card, fuck this card. Yeah, so anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.